Hello, my creepies. Today, we are going to discuss the stigma associated with disturbing horror and the cultural impact they have had. Now, if you know me, I love horror, I love gore. The more shocking and disturbing, the better it is. We will explore the genre and talk about some of our favorite shocking and disturbing films, what effects it has on us even to this day, or when we started getting into it. And I'm super stoked because I get to talk to Catalie. I've known Catalie for years, and she is an awesome friend. She's a content creator as well as a blogger. She's got a website, thehorrorcat.com, and she's got a YouTube channel. But yeah. Welcome, Catalie.
Oh, it's been long overdue. We always do these chats for hours off video and everything. So it's finally time that we condense all of those. It'll be impossible. Me and Rob can chat for this for hours. Like, we've done it before, and it's like, next thing you know, it's like, we gotta go eat. Oh, we've been starving all day. Whoops.
Oh yeah, there's been plenty of times we were like, okay, it's just gonna be quick. 3 hours later.
No such thing. Never
No.
quick.
There's never a quick combo. On the topic of shocking and disgusting, what are some of your top favorites?
Oh, it's hard. That's like the
It-
hardest
it-
question. I find something
is.
new. I find something new all the time. You are always feeding me something that I've never seen, and I eat it right up. I sit there with the biggest spoon and just I do have to say so far some of my top favorites. I don't, and this goes for like, I don't know if people would consider these disturbing or anything, but I personally find American Psycho kind of disturbing, like little
It
elements of
is.
American Psycho. Yeah,
It
like
is. Is it like mentally as well?
yeah, like he did such a great job. So I would find that to be definitely it's up there. It's in the top three. Um Everything else it varies, but I would have to say Dream House is my number one so far.
Yes, you introduced me to that one years ago. We were watching it in Discord.
Ugh. When
That's
I
a
don't
good
even know
one.
how I don't even know how I found that one. I want to say it was Shutter, but I don't even know. I just remember seeing it and seeing the scenes, and when I saw the toilet scene, I was like, "Oh, they went there. They went
Yeah,
there."
and that's the one that's the Chinese horror, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it was like made in Hong Kong, and the lady wanted the apartment real bad, so she went to like
Yeah,
super lengths to get it. You know,
I
just
remember that
normal
one.
normal real estate things, getting your dream apartment.
The only way to get it is to murder in it.
No neighbors. Look at that.
Yeah. Dream House was a really good one. We gotta put that as a recommendation for movie night.
Yes.
Because it's been a long time since I actually seen that. I think we were still on Mixer.
I think so. Like, it's been a while. I was there when you watched it. I was just like,
Yeah, we watched it
we
together.
gotta you gotta bring this again. I watched this so many times. I'm always down for it.
Yeah.
Always.
Okay, well we're gonna have to definitely do it again. Um Talking about like the shocking and disgusting or disturbing. Last night we watched Raw, and I know you know about the film French Horror. Yeah, that one was pretty cool. I don't know. I enjoyed it. I don't know what everyone else in the Horde thought about it, but it was quite enjoyable.
I have pretty strong feelings about Raw. Like, you know, especially with the wild, just batshit insane like French movies, like horror
Oh
movies
my
that are out
god!
there, like
Yes,
Inside.
yes.
Like Raw
They
for me,
touch.
like
Yeah, it was a slow burn. But talking about that, I know you and I were discussing this earlier. We were speaking earlier, and we were talking about how hyping of a film can really ruin a film.
I mean, maybe it was like me at the time that I needed to get like, I don't know, grow into like my taste or like be a little bit more appreciative of film overall, which is weird to say because like I went to like in college, I went to film school. Like I have a degree in film and all of that. So like you would think off the bat, I would be like, I love all the films and everything, but my mindset wasn't all there for those. So when I saw Raw, I don't think it was at the right time personally. The hype got me in pretty bad. They were like the most disturbing and it's shocking and it's so gross. I threw up and I was just like, yeah, because
of course.
So
yeah. And but I find that does happen. It's happened to me as well. The hype around a film, whether it's a film I really wanted to see, if they hype it up too much, it's usually a big letdown. And not that the film was bad or anything, or that it wasn't made well. It was just the fact that you were expecting this holy grail of disturbing goreness and you got something that wasn't up to those expectations. It's like going onto a dating app and you see a picture of like a hot person there, right? And you're expecting what you see in the picture because you kind of already seen, and they come wearing like a ratty old sweater and they don't look like nothing like their picture.
You get a whole serial killer just in the first day and you're like, it's not it. It's not quite it. I was hoping for, I don't know, Chad that climbed rocks, not, Brian that likes to stab on his free time.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, you like what you like though.
Definitely.
I just, I definitely grew a little bit more into the whole, instead of saying a movie sucked and everything, at the end of the day, it's so freaking hard making a film. Like we're in the process of doing that on our end, and like even the location scouting is hell. So I just feel like all movies are art. They really should be appreciated one way or another because it does take a lot of work. And it's okay to say that like a film is not for you, and Raw wasn't for me. I didn't find it as disgusting or disturbing as people said. But that's why, that's why I have friends like you that we know what levels of gore and disturbing we enjoy, or like, we're sickos like that. Oh, grotesque. I think about grotesque. But it's like that's why we make friends. That's what the horror community is about. You're always gonna find somebody that's gonna be like, oh my god, I also love that movie, and chat in between. And then you're gonna be somebody like, I hate that movie, and then you're gonna bond over that too, and it's fine. It's just at the time with the hype and everything, it wasn't for me. But I feel like if I got around to it now, I would at least appreciate it a little bit in another way, like you were saying earlier as well. Just at the time, I don't think my senses were all there to watch it and give my opinion on it.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that. I had the same thing with Martyrs. Martyrs was supposed to be this like holy friggin' grail of like craziness, and for me, it wasn't at all. And Saint Maud, same thing. Like I don't know what it was or why I went into it with a certain type of mindset, but it definitely did not hit me like it hit other people, and I was like, what the fuck is wrong with me?
I still gotta watch the mod too, but like I've heard a lot of people say it's like their best, the best movie they've seen and everything. And again, I also think like, I chat about it all the time, like horror is subjective, like what's gonna scare you, disgust you, whatever, it's not gonna be the same for others. And sometimes I feel like horror gets so personal, just like some people are gonna like revenge movies a lot because it makes them feel empowered, in control of like, whether it's a situation in their life or something. But like there's a genre, a subgenre for everybody. There is completely. It's just like gore and guts and straight to the point slashing, and we're not sickos. Like, we're just normal human beings, and I don't know what the discourse is with people hating on the gore and disgusting. So
right, I don't understand that. Like it's not like we're running out in the streets and murdering people. I mean, I grew up watching lots of gory horror even as an adult, and I'm still not out here slaying people. Well, at least they don't see me slaying people out in the streets.
I don't even like to leave my house, so it's like what are people afraid of? Like, yeah, she just stays at home and she watches these disgusting movies. What does she do? I don't know, play Minecraft for 8 hours.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Harmless.
Well, yeah. And what on that topic of being, how like gore and over the top gore, or what people call torture porn nowadays, how did it make you feel when you actually did speak to other people about films that you enjoyed? Like, what were the reactions when you're like, oh yeah, I watched Salo, or I watched this Siberian film, or
Oh gosh, the all popular, most disturbing movie of all time to a lot of people. I'm so done. I actually just watched it like a month ago. We had to show it to my friend, and I was just sitting here because the movie is mine. Like I owned it. Just I
yeah,
like
I own it
collecting
too.
like mess. Yeah, I like collecting. We like collecting messed up stuff,
Yeah,
like especially films. There's obviously borders we won't cross, but like movies like that.
yeah.
And we had to show it to a friend, and I was just sitting there like, I'm so fucking tired of this movie and watching it over and over again for people that haven't seen it. But I enjoy seeing people's reactions because some people are so like shocked to the core that I feel enjoyment seeing people's reactions at this point.
Yes. Oh
But
yeah.
I
it, their reactions to that film is they also, I think they tend to build up a hype around it. Those people who haven't seen it yet, but they heard people talk about it, right? They heard the reviews, they read stuff online, because I know a lot of people, before seeing a movie, they'll quickly go to Google and type it in, and then they'll read some people's reviews. And I think a lot of that feeds into, don't get me wrong, a Siberian, that movie hits many levels of what the fuck.
oh yeah.
It does. I enjoy it though, because it's a next level. I mean, you have to have some big friggin' balls to make a movie like that and to act in a movie like that. But I think a lot of times people will read reviews and then build it up in their mind and then see it, and they make it 10 times worse than what it really actually is.
Yeah. I was reading that the like when they made that movie, it was supposed to be like a political
Yes,
film.
it was. Yep.
And I actually just learned that the last time I went into it, because when you're in the middle of a movie, you gotta see who's this person, what they're up to now, every time,
You
every
got
movie.
to.
I actually saw what like the movie, like why it was made. I was like, I've learned so much about it now. So I was just like, oh, that's so interesting. But you learn things every day. So like learning that it was a political thing for the first time like a month ago, it completely like fresh outlook on the movie. I still don't want to watch it again though.
Yeah,
Um
I've seen that movie. Oh God, I can't even tell you how many times I've seen it. I've showed it to the Horde, like numerous times, and some people kind of lost their shit over. I warn. I always warn. You know what I mean? I'm like, look, there's a trigger for this. There's a trigger for that. There's, you may not like this, but be forewarned. If you're gonna watch this movie, don't take it lightly. And so, yeah, some people lost their shit. We actually had a small argument, not with me, but two people in that were watching it about people. The funny thing was how people who watch these type of films, what type of person are they? One
yeah.
person on the one hand was saying you've got to be a horrible person, or something's got to be wrong with you to enjoy something like this, and the other person came back and was like, well, no, it's just art. It's everybody likes something different. It doesn't mean that this is what I'm out to do. But I find that happens a lot in things when you talk about films that touch a different nerve, like they touch things that normal people would not touch. And
Uh, I mean, don't get me wrong. I still feel like you gotta have some kind of like, I don't know, depravity in you to enjoy some of those movies. Cause
you
like
do have
there's
to have
some
a
movies
little something. I mean,
a
most
little
everyday
fucked up.
people.
Yeah, like like some of these people definitely go to therapy, like because you need it sometimes, like I do.
There's
I'm
nothing
not
wrong with
ashamed to
it.
say it. I tell my therapist about it all the time. It's like I describe her movies because she's never seen horror movies, and I tell her about these films that I watch, and then I started telling her about the most fucked up dreams I have, and she's like, "Well, do you think that it has to do something with the horror films?" I was like, "No, never that." But I mean, I think that like you don't have to be a specific kind of person. You just gotta know like how you're gonna go into something, just
Yeah.
like raw. Like I wish I would have gone with a more open mind instead of like the hype train of how gory and disgusting it's gonna be. um I think people should just kind of go with an open mind for a lot of things,
I agree.
especially when it's a film.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to be for everybody, and you can make that decision, in the middle or whenever it just, it messes with you. Um, but I mean, if they got into argument about it, that's the whole point of the community, not getting into arguments, but discussing
Yeah.
why did you hate it? Why didn't you like it? Like, and I feel like that's an issue that a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
people on social media have. That like some people are too afraid of discussing what they like or didn't like because like a movie's getting a lot of praise, a movie's just getting shitted on. Like I feel like there's not enough people that are comfortable with expressing how they felt about a movie because of like just how they'll be viewed on social media.
100%.
Yeah.
I have posted my feels on movies. Yes, some of them do get attacked, but I don't care. But there are, I find with social media, it's a horror in itself because people take it that one step further. It's not like, oh, okay, well, I dislike the movie for whatever reason. This person comes on and like literally rips your head off like you went in there and kicked them in the dick or something. They act like you personally attacked them when you say the movie wasn't for me. I disliked it for whatever reason. But hey, go out and still watch it. People will still
Yeah.
attack you. You can't discuss anything on social media without somebody getting upset.
Yeah, and there's a difference when you're like, "Hey, it wasn't for me," but I still, like how I was telling you about a specific movie that just came out
Yeah,
that we almost watched.
it
I was just
wasn't
like,
for
it's
me.
not. It's not for a lot of people, but like when I watched it last year with two more people, one of them was absolutely like horrified. Top best movie he's ever seen. And I was just like, well, what was it that like it was the best horror movie you ever seen? And they've seen like messed up stuff, even the sci-fi like channel stuff. So they've seen
Yeah.
everything. And they're like, that was the best horror movie I've ever seen. I related to like my childhood and like something about the feel of it. It was just horrifying. And I understood because like you gotta connect with some of these movies sometimes. Like again, horror being subjective. Like
It's art.
me seeing clowns, me seeing like way too like dark oceans, dark hallways, like it freaks me out. So it all depends on the person, like personal experience, how you correlate it. But I don't know. I feel like everyone should still give all these movies a try. And
Oh,
if
for
blood
sure.
is not for you, like if blood is not for you, because it really isn't. Some people pass out from seeing it, then don't watch it. There's plenty of reviewers that will tell you, hey, like trigger warnings, this is pretty gross, or like there's
Yep.
websites that will tell you how messed up some films are.
Oh, 100%. I know when I do my reviews, like when I did a review on Headless, one of my
Oh
favorite
God.
shocking and disturbing films ever. I warn people. I can't even say it with a straight face. I warn people. I tell them that there is extreme amounts of SA. There is extreme amounts of necrophilia. Like these things might turn you off.
Yeah.
I've had, so for me, the shocking and disturbing genre has been an eye opener, and for me, when I started seeing things like that when I was much younger, with a program which is not all real, but it was called Faces of Death.
Oh
And
my gosh.
Faces of Death, as a young kid, rented it from the VHS shop. That was my first taste of actual like shockumentary disturbing imagery, especially with the monkey. And
I like that you didn't even dip like your toes in the water. You just put like your
right
whole
in.
like half foot in, and you're like, this is gonna unleash me going into the swimming pool fully.
Exactly. And then I started looking up other things, and I found snuff films, and I just went down this huge rabbit hole. And as I got older and we got the internet, I mean, that opened up a whole new friggin' world of craziness. But when I would speak to people, they would look at me like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And in all honesty, there is nothing wrong with me or what I like to watch. And that's where we get into the whole culture of things, because you'll have your average everyday person who enjoys horror movies, and they'll love that kind of thing, and you start talking about Faces of Death, or Siberian Salo, Headless, or Inside, because Inside's a pretty aggressive French horror. or high tension, and you start talking about these things and they're like, well, why do you like that kind of stuff? Do you like brutality towards women? And I'm like, I'm a fucking woman, and no, I don't like brutality, because a lot of these movies, except for Salo, a lot of these movies have a lot of female violence.
Yeah.
High tension, headless. I mean, a majority of horror films that are bloody can mainly attack women. But I don't find that as a bad thing, because usually it promotes empowerment and strength on a person who is always considered the weaker or the meek.
It's the truth. Like, as if even if we hate to admit it, it is like,
yeah,
it's such a relief when you see that one like final girl that you're cheering for, a person that just went through hell throughout the whole movie, just like I spit on your grave, like,
oh my god, yes,
like seeing stuff like that, you're like, yo,
yes,
get it, get
revenge.
those people. Like, you feel so good when you see this person like get out of this hell, and it's, you know, it's absolutely traumatizing, but like the revenge movies are just super empowering.
They are,
a lot of them that I've seen,
and they're very shocking as well. They would land in that shocking and disturbing. A lot of people think that it's got to be shocking and disturbing. It's got to have like some really crazy off the wall shit, and it really doesn't. Revenge films or housebreaking films, they are all in that whole shocking section. There is a movie called Revenge, and it is awesome.
Oh, I remember seeing that on Shudder. I think it was
a Shudder. I believe it was a Shudder exclusive, and I seen it when they released it on the day they released it here in Canada. I was cheering for her, like that whole. Yeah. I'm like, yes, as she's in the water. I don't want to ruin it if no one has seen it yet, but I was literally in my fucking chair, like just cheering her on, because it's to see something so horrible and horrific happen to her. And then her turning out to be this badass that took back control, and she took back her life, and it's great to see. I think those movies are great. I think that's what makes the horror genre so wonderful, is that it takes what society looks at as weak or not worthy and makes them into a hero almost. That's how I feel.
Like, you know, like I understand that like a lot of people might be like, oh, I'm tired of that trope, like it needs to stop, it needs to be done with, like women are not seen as a weaker. Like, I get it, but this is the thing, being a woman, just overall, like real life every day, is fucking scary.
Yes.
Like, that doesn't stop for us, and it's really awful to see it on the news and everything. It's terrifying out there just to be like alive sometimes. So when some people are like, oh, these movies need to stop and everything, think of all the awful things that are happening to people at this moment, that years from now they might run into this film and feel like, you know, the most fucked up film can inspire somebody to really overcome that trauma, or like see somebody in that situation like relate to it and not feel as hopeless. Like, it's scary. That's why Inside, like, I think about that movie all the time. Like, anything but like babies and
a lot of that directors won't touch. Okay, pregnancy, pregnant women being murdered. How often do you see that in horror movies? Can you name 10 off the top of your head right now that has a pregnant woman who is violently, brutally murdered?
God, no.
There's not many.
Not at all.
That's a subject that people don't like to touch, which I don't think anybody or anything should be off to touch. I think we should be murdering children.
I keep seeing that. No, I keep seeing that a lot.
Children. I think we should be murdering pregnant women. I think we should be murdering everybody. I don't think anyone is off, hands off, because in reality, nobody is safe from death. Nobody is safe from having your arms cut off of you, or decapitation, or being stabbed, or whatever it may be. In reality, nobody is safe, not even a child who is 2 years old. I have been seeing more and more films where children are dying, but still not as prominent as as we can see in the horror genre right now.
But I feel like it's so like for me seeing because like I really have been seeing an increase even TV shows or anything of like you wouldn't see stuff like this 10 years ago. That
No.
was like a no-no. You never showed a kid or anyone like underage dying in films, even though it's like fake. You just don't do that. And I've been seeing directors just taking these risks lately, putting these kids in danger and awful
Yes.
situations. Like we have a movie coming out with Dave Bautista, like Who Knocks at the Door or something, and it's about a couple and their kid, and it looks like their kid's in danger in that film. Like
Yeah.
they're putting kids in these like very uncomfortable decisions, but that's horrifying for anyone who feels protective over them. Like you never want to see a kid being that. Like that's horrifying.
Yeah.
So like it's even for me it's still shocking seeing these scenes happening. Like I can't get
100%.
over that. Like
It's great to see them taking this leap into a part of a genre that is not normally touched. Same thing with the French horror. Now, the French are on a whole other level when it comes to horror, and Inside shows you that. They're not afraid to touch the taboos of murdering pregnant women or trying to murder pregnant women and murdering their babies all at the same time, or trying to keep babies alive or whatever it may be.
I forgot about Human Centipede.
Oh my lord!
I think that was the first time I saw the most brutal thing, and I was at my friend's house, and we were just like, and in my head, I was like, they show that in the movie,
right? Like
I
that
was
whole
so
ass to
surprised.
mouth thing fucked me right up. I'm not gonna lie. I saw Human Centipede, and I was just like, oh, what? And just thinking about the thinking about that possibility of having your lips sewn to someone's ass. Like, I know people who cannot watch that film. Every time I post about it on like Twitter, I get DMs. I get a lot of people like, what the fuck's wrong with you, or how can you watch that? It was the same with Necromantic, and this is where we tap into the culture of the horror genre and how people look at you differently when you do talk about these films, like that we were just discussing.
Yeah, and it's weird, and I feel like
Human Centipede turns off a lot of people, believe it or
I
not.
mean, it's gross. Like
It's gross, but I mean, it's not to the point where it's unwatchable. I enjoy all three of them. Is it something that I watch on a regular? No, I have to be in a mood to watch Human Centipede. Like, that's not a Saturday film that I'm gonna throw on.
See, that's the thing people don't know about. It's like, even though we like these messed up films with all the blood and guts and everything, do we sit there all day to watch these? No, absolutely not. Like, I'm not gonna sit on a random like Friday night going like, hey, I'm bored. You know, it's a great movie to watch. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think. Audition. Yeah, let me sit down and watch
Audition.
that. Like, I don't know if you just saw, like, it's great that towards the end you're gagging. You're like, ugh.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this movie. It's on Shudder as well. It's called Speak No Evil.
Yes, I did.
Wow. If none of y'all have seen it, or you have Shudder and you need a movie to watch,
Speak No Evil.
So there's that line. Like the whole movie, I was like, this is messed up. And like the whole time I was just like, why don't you just leave?
Right.
That was me the whole time.
Just leave.
That was me the whole time. Like, just leave. I was so mad the whole movie at like everything happening. It was just anger after anger, just anger, everything. And then when they did that thing, when they said that line, engraved into my head, I was like, it's like the strangers all over again. No,
Right?
worse.
Right? See No Evil. I'm going to get you the link there, Dead End. I see you sitting there. I mean, there was a TV series, but not the TV series. Speak No Evil is from 2016. And yes.
Wait, No Evil is...
No, sorry. I'm sorry. Wrong one. Speak No Evil. No, he said Kane, so I started thinking of See No Evil, because See No Evil is a movie with Kane. It was a wrestler or something like that.
I love the first movie. I don't care what anybody says.
I enjoyed
underrated
the first
film.
one. Definitely, I
Underrated
will
film.
agree with you. Speak No Evil is a 2022 film. It's a Dutch film. And basically, these parents go away on a vacation. They meet another beautiful family. I'm not going to ruin it for anybody. And some shit happens. That's all I'm going to say. It is fucked up. As a parent, when I watch that film, as a parent, I will tell you horror films hit differently when there are children involved, or even babies, any sort of children involved. They always hit me differently. And I think it's just because I'm a mom, right? I know what that is like, and the thought of, it's just not nice, but they definitely hit differently. But
I'm just getting angry thinking about it again.
Right? I did the same thing as I'm watching, and I'm like, why don't these motherfuckers just leave? Like, what's wrong with you? If this was me, I'd be up and out. But also, you look at it from the other side, is you also don't want to be rude, because your society has always told us we're not supposed to be rude to people. Give them a second chance, the benefit of the doubt. Not everybody is normal. And I think that was another reason why they even stayed there, because you also have to think of the culture, the Dutch culture as well, right? It's totally different than what we're used to, and in many aspects. It's a fucked up film. Go and watch it.
Yeah, you just gotta go watch it. Like, if you haven't, oh my god, I really think about it, and you know what? Like, if I was in that situation, because I was cheering for the wife the whole time.
Yeah.
I was just like, I would have been such like, I would have put like my best American on and be rude as hell. Like, fuck you, fuck your family. We need to go.
Yep.
But
I'm just putting it into the chat for Dead End.
Oh yeah, watch it.
It sounds like it would piss me off too. It definitely would. It would. Yeah, just watch it, especially if you, like Kat said, if you have Shudder.
But you know what movie though?
List.
What movie pissed me off the most? Talking about like movies that piss us off. Even though it pissed me off, I've been raging looking online to get myself a Blu-ray or a DVD copy of it, and I can't find it nowhere. The Sadness.
I know. Oh my god, that is also part of the shocking and disturbing genre. I know people are going to argue with me on it, but I don't care what you say. That movie was unsettling. It was disturbing on numerous levels.
Top five for me, and the most disturbing and stuff I've seen. Like, oh my gosh! But I need it in the collection so bad. I have no idea.
I can't find it either, and I'm wondering if we have to go to like I wonder if we have a festival, or possibly to the production company's website. I know it's an international horror. There was a movie called Framed. It made in Spain. It was on the festival circuit. Catalie, I know I've told you about it. I've told you about it a long time ago when I seen it. Framed, holy shitballs. It's English, English dubbed, but it's in Spanish. Not dubbed, subtitle, sorry, and it's in Spanish. I know I've told you about it. This film blows me away. I can't find it on DVD or Blu-ray anywhere.
I need to still see this, because I remember you telling me like
I have it. I think I have it. It used to be free on Vimeo. The director, the guy who created it, had it up on Vimeo for free. You were able to download it and you could watch it. I'm wondering if I can contact him to see if he has any pressings. That's what we can do as well, is actually contact like the director or the production company to see if they do have anything that we can buy. As I know, a lot of indie films, especially international indie films, they do, but it's usually not as prominent as other films because they don't have the money for the marketing.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, because I think the director for The Sadness, I think the whole movie was shot in Taiwan or something. So I'm wondering if they're doing like, if they're having, because I know when I searched for it online, they did a limited badge on like Raven Films or something.
Yep.
That's the only official one I can find.
That's it.
All the DVDs I find online don't play in North America, so I'm like screwed out of luck.
I know. That's all. What the shit? It pisses me off. You have to buy yourself a no region like Blu-ray player. Who's got the time for that?
I mean, I'm so close to, because there's so many movies that again you just can't like find that they play here. But like, I mean, it takes away from the fun though. I love getting my hands on like
Yeah.
video nasties, like especially remastered and stuff.
Yes.
But like the
Yes.
sadness is
100%. It's a disturbing, effed up movie. It is a movie I think everyone should see. Don't let the
yeah.
title fool you.
I've never seen because like I saw the trailer and I saw like the face
Yeah.
of the lady. I was like, oh, this movie looks gross. Once I was in it, I was just getting angrier and angrier because I don't think I've seen such a good display of just violent infected, just
Yeah.
out and about just because they're mad, they're raging, like they're just angry, going at people. And
Yeah.
I was just like, that, like, I think that shocked me. That actually ended up shocking me. But I
Yeah.
don't know if you remember, and I'm not gonna spoil it for everybody because if I saw it, so do you. The hospital scene.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to say any more.
I hear that.
Need a rewatch. I think I need a rewatch. I think maybe Thursday night in Discord. So Thursday
Yes.
nights in Discord, we do movie night. We watch a horror movie, whether it's super gory or ridiculously funny horror. We watch it every Thursday night, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. I think we're going to put that on our list, The Sadness, because I've seen it. I think it's time for a rewatch. I think it's a great film.
I hope like Shudder doesn't take it off or anything because like that's the only place I know to watch it right now.
Only place you can find it. Only place you can find it. And it sucks because I think it would do so well if it got a big opening. It didn't get a big opening. It just went straight to Shudder.
Well, listen, I don't think as much as I love seeing Terrifier 2 thrive and do great in the films, like that was amazing. I've never seen like I was so excited seeing so much blood and things that people are like, oh, that's gross, and you're going to like a major movie theater packed to just watch it. Like your mind is just like, this is happening. You're excited like a kid again.
Hell yes. Oh, and talking about the sadness, before that movie came out, I caught wind of it on a circuit. I was able to watch part of a short. It was something that from the film. I actually videotaped. It was more of a reaction to the sadness before it actually came out. I never posted it on YouTube.
See, y'all need to talk to Ra and tell her to keep posting these reactions. She's holding from us every time.
I do hold. I don't know why I do it. I watch it and I'm just like, nah. And that's when I first heard about the sadness. It was about a year before it came out, and I really enjoy being on a festival circuit. So I judge on. They send a bunch of movies come through. These shorts are full length and you judge them. You kind of, pick what's best out of them. You got to write a whole thing on them, like, why you liked it, yada, yada. And then it gets sent off and that movie gets voted on. And then that's how you see the indie films that get most voted on at the film festivals, or the Toronto Film Festival, so forth and so on. It's because you have judges watching them and scoring them, basically.
I would love to go to one of those major film festivals.
I would love
I've
to
seen
go to
it.
one.
I've seen them and I've gone. I actually just went to my first film festival ever last November. I was invited, thankfully, and I went and I enjoyed it. It was like a new experience for me. But I really want to go to like at least one big one, and I think the Toronto one is the closest one to me, which is like one of the biggest ones you can get.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest ones. I've gone to the HorrorCon, so I go to the HorrorCon in Calgary every year, and they have a small film festival there. So I go. That's where I saw.
Awesome.
That's where I saw Frames. Frames came out in 2017, and it was hitting the circuit, but people didn't hear about it until 2019. Right before the whole pandemic hit. But I saw it on the circuit with my spawn. We went to the HorrorCon that year. We go every year, and we always go to the film festival because you will see some top-notch indie horror, whether it's a 5-minute short or an hour and 30 minutes. We saw that. We both looked at each other. I need to get this. Unfortunately, there were no copies to buy. None. When I seen Headless, I hunted down. That's what I did. I hunted it down. I contacted the director. That's how I got myself a copy of Headless.
Like I'll even show you. Like the good thing about film festivals is that sometimes you'll get like the directors, everybody just there selling the movie. I've learned because right now I even have it still here. I still have like the bag from the festival. I was just
Yeah,
like, I'm
you
never
gotta
unpacking
keep
this.
it. No.
I'm never unpacking this. But there's this movie that's currently in the circuits, and they were selling it in VHS.
That's
It's called
awesome.
Heebie Jeebie
Yep.
TV.
Yes, it is.
Incredibly talented people. I was so happy walking out of that because it was such an out there horror movie that it actually made me like happy for once that I'm watching something that's not like blood and guts and gore, because like it brought so
Yep.
much like happiness to me to see like the talent that's going around. And you know, this movie was it was like the last movie of the night for the film festival. So everybody came out and everybody was just so happy and smiling, and they just ran over to grab a copy of them. I didn't even look at the price. I was like, I need to take this.
Exactly.
I need to support.
And you are literally supporting an independent artist, somebody who saw and had a dream and decided to turn that dream into their reality. And that's why I always hate, when people give bad reviews about things, whether it was a AAA title. I always say I disliked Halloween, and I disliked it for specific reasons. I'm not going to say not watch it. I'm not going to say it's a bag of shit. It just definitely wasn't for me, and I didn't like it on numerous levels. But there's a lot of films that I don't like, and it's not because I don't like it because it was a shit movie, that it wasn't filmed correctly, or the acting was crap. It was just, it's not for me, like you said earlier.
I mean, when Halloween's been around for 40 plus years and that's the way it ends, you kind of have mixed emotions about it.
yeah, I found that I actually liked Kills. I actually liked Halloween Kills. That, I'm gonna have to say, that was the better of them all. For me, it's Kills, 18, and then Ends. And I'm not a fan of that universe. I'm not a fan of it, but I'm not going to tell someone not to watch it. I'm not going to shit all over it. It just wasn't for this type of horror fan.
In my head, like the way I'm trying to process them, so it's like for me they feel like something new. It's like I'm really trying to process them as something completely like disconnected from everything else.
A new universe, like Marvel.
Yep. I'm not even trying to be like 1, 2, and then no. I'm trying to just think about it like number 1, and then maybe these came around, and like that's how I'm trying to soak them in so that I don't get a sour taste. And that way it's actually been great.
Oh yeah, I've watched them all. I mean, mind you, I didn't watch them when they came out. I didn't, run to the theater. 2018 I did. I brought my spawn to her first opening night of a horror film, which was Halloween. She was not happy when we left. But, I put it to her this way. I was like, how Marvel has all these universes? You have this guy here with these guys, and then you have a whole different universe with this guy with a whole bunch of different. I said, that's how you have to look at Halloween. As it's set in the universe of Halloween, and maybe in another realm of Halloween. And that's how I went into all of the, after the first one, I went into Kills the same way. I really enjoyed Kills. Went into End the same way. There's a lot yeah. But if you look at it as not set in the realm with Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode and her brother Michael, if you completely separate it from that realm, it's not horrible. I mean, what they did to Michael in Ends, that's for any killer, you could do that too.
I just wanted to see the garbage disposal be put to work.
Right?
That's what I think. That's why I'm so excited for Evil Dead.
Oh my God, the cheese grater.
Oh, I saw that. I was just like,
we need more cheese grating horror. We need it. We don't have enough cheese grating, because you got to think about having a cheese grater, whatever part of your body. I hurt myself with the cheese grater all the time. I know this. I cut half of my thumb. So I don't know. I get wild with it. I don't know what the fuck I do. I'll be sitting there grating cheese for whatever. I hurt myself when making tacos, and so I was grating cheese, and I don't know what I was doing. I was supposedly, guess I wasn't paying attention, and I came up on the cheese grater, but the cheese was so low that I got the fingernail, and so my fingernail split right down the side here. So it's finally healing. It's been like 3 weeks. But cheese grater horror, man. Cheese grater horror. We need it. I'm excited for Evil Dead Rise.
There's some things, especially like when all these movies come out, there's always like those kills that like we just can't stand, or it's too a little even too much for us. For me, anything with the Achilles cut, eyeball cuts,
Eyeballs. Any eyeball torture gets me. Hostel fucked me up.
Oh, there's this show, in case you gotta watch then. Obviously, since we're talking about things that mess you up, cuts and stuff like that, and injuries, there's a show on Netflix called Somebody or Someone. It's a Korean show, and it's like a thriller about like a lady. She created like it's like a app that you get to talk and date people and stuff.
Okay.
So she meets a serial killer, and that's where I'm gonna leave it. That's where I'm gonna leave it.
I have to check that out. I'm gonna see if I have it here in Canada.
Yeah. So if you don't like injuries, turn away from that one.
But if you're zombie got me as well. I'm watching this zombie film and it was friggin' awesome, and then all of a sudden this big splinter and an eyeball scene. I was like,
and the worst part is that it's in the merch everywhere, constantly reminding you that it happens.
What? Oh my god, I know. Any eyeball scene, or another thing that gets me is insects. I don't like insects like crawling in, and I blame the Creep Show, because when I was little, I was a little youngin' when I seen Creep Show in the 80s, and that scene with the cockroaches and the guy, oh, that has burned into my psyche. Like, it is burned in there, and anytime I see it, there's a movie called Hidden or Beyond. I think it's called The Beyond. Another sci-fi horror. It has to do with this big giant slug thing that goes from one person's mouth into another. Catalie. It is horrific.
See, I gotta keep. You make my letterbox list of things I gotta watch so long, and then the issue is finding these movies, because I'm surprised I even found Headless to begin with. Thankfully, it was like on Tubi. Tubi's always delivering the weirdest stuff out there, and I appreciate them for it.
See, your guys' Tubi in the States is way better than ours, but still there is a lot of hidden gems on Tubi.tv. Tubi does not have Headless here. Headless does not exist anywhere in Canada, so...
Maybe Canada's just overall hating on Disturbing and Guts.
Oh, we do. Why. Do you know the Siberian movie, that film? You could not get here. You cannot buy it here. I actually had it smuggled in. I didn't. No, it wasn't smuggled in. It was sent to me as a
gift.
Here, you wanted this. Here you go. Can't get it here at all. And if you tried to buy it from like Amazon, it was $100.
Oh gosh, no! I get it from some random guy on eBay. I think I went on eBay. I was like, let's see if somebody has the unrated thing, and I was like, oh, they do. The one, oh, this was 2010 or 11 printed. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy it, sure. And it gets here and it's a real thing. It's wrapped and everything. I was like, oh, nice. Somebody really bought a stash and just started selling them for like dirt cheap on eBay, and that's how maybe I'll find the sadness that way. But like,
yeah,
I'm willing to pay some serious money for that, because I think that's one of the movies that's gonna go down as like the most disturbing of like the whatever decade we're in right now.
It was supposed to come out sooner, but then COVID hit, right? And then COVID fucked up that whole thing with the sadness, because when I first covered the sadness, it was supposed to come out a year later. And it came out much later than it was officially supposed to be released. And I think that was just because of the pandemic, because that came out around the same time as we were hitting that pandemic pretty hard.
Wow. I mean, I'm happy it ended up on Shudder, though. If anyone's gonna appreciate it, it's the people that are signed up for Shudder, because I'm gonna tell you right now, no one is spending $5 a month to be signed up for shits and giggles on Shudder.
And like, $5 a month is cheap. Compared to like Netflix now, it's like 20, and here it's like $20 a month. Amazon Prime, you have to have you have to be a Prime member to reap the benefits of Amazon Prime. But then you go to Amazon Prime and you look at their channels, anywhere from $5 to $14, and I'm like, what? I'll just stick with my Shudder for $5, thank you.
Oh, I love it. I love Shudder. That's really how even movies that I've been like way due to watching. Like I watched them all there. I love it. So I don't know, Shudder. If you're watching this video, sponsor Ra. Sponsor Ra.
It's both. You watch enough and do reviews on things. Like seriously, they should. I when Shudder first came out, it wasn't in Canada right away. And
that'll take a bit.
it took a little bit, and then we did finally get Shudder because I was ready and willing to fucking dish out money left, right, and center for this when I heard about it, and I'm like, okay, I've got to find it. Lo and behold, it didn't exist here, so I was like, okay, we'll just wait. And I don't think we had to wait long, and then Shudder finally arrived. But we still don't have like Screambox. We don't have Hulu, Peacock, Vudu. Like we don't have any of that.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I mean, Hulu has been kicking off with the movies. Like I watch I think it was Fresh.
Ah, I love Fresh.
That was wow.
Beautiful.
That was actually, I loved it because I think I saw you watching it on Twitter, and I was like, I'm here, let me just watch it. I hopped on it and I was
Beautiful.
really pleasantly surprised by it. And see, that's one of the ones I went in with no expectations. I just saw you watching it. I was like, I'm just gonna jump into it. I'm not even gonna look it up.
Yep.
I loved it.
I don't look up movies anymore. I just go ahead and if someone's like, what is this movie about? I really don't fucking know. Like the movie that we were watching last night that we didn't watch. I mean, Thursday night. I didn't know anything about it besides of what I heard online. I never looked it up. But then, I went into it and I was like,
I had to like watch, like, because I know the stuff you like watch and the community watch, and I was just like, I'm just gonna let you know, this is a long one. Brace yourself.
Yeah,
it's a tough one.
I'm glad you did.
It's a tough one. And I feel terrible about it because like for some people it might have been like great, but like
I don't think not the people that we had in Discord last night. Everybody said the same thing. So
yeah, I know what the HORDE watches at this point. So I'm like, this is gonna be a tough one.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a tough one for everyone.
When I asked everybody, should we switch movies? There wasn't one person that said no. Everybody was like, yeah. So maybe
you gave it a try.
Maybe another day, another time, I might sit down and be able to sit through it. I don't know.
Just give it a try at least.
Yeah, obviously, always give it a try. I always try to do about 20 to 30 minutes before I turn a movie off or a TV show. At TV shows, I try to do 2 episodes before I say hell no. So I always watch a movie. There's a movie called Pitchfork. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. I watched 20 minutes of it and I was like, let me fast forward, let me see if there's anything good, and there was nothing good. Now
that's about to put on my list.
Yeah, there's a few movies called Pitchfork, so I don't remember which one it is. It's a newer made movie.
I keep hearing Pitchfork and all I can think about is The Furies.
I love that movie.
That was great. That was a great recommendation.
Oh, it reminded me of Dead by Daylight as well.
I never thought about it like that.
I watched it and I'm like, this is a movie like Dead by Daylight. Like the
wow.
young guy in there that you constantly seen, he reminded me of the Trapper.
Oh my God, I know the guy. I didn't even see it like that until you just brought it. Wow. See, now I gotta watch it again because I'm gonna be like, yeah, that's I see it now.
Definitely
I see
watch it again. That's a movie I'd love to own. I found Headless through the movie Found. And Found is a great film. And that's how I found Headless. And then Regal, because we couldn't have the DVD here, Regal found for me in one of her big box stores. And she's like, Rah, look what I found. I'm like, yes. And she sent it to me. Like a big box store had Found. Yeah.
You find little gems everywhere. My gosh.
And Headless was a movie that the kids were watching in the movie Found. It was Joy Toy, myself, Zach O'Green was with me, and we're in Discord again having one of our crazy film days, and we watched Found because Joy Toy's like, Ra, you gotta watch this movie. I'm like, all right, we found it, we watched it, I fucking loved it. then there's this movie that the kids were watching called Headless, and I'm like, I hope this movie is real. And so I started doing my research, and I'm like, while we're in Discord, and I'm sitting there, I found it. It's a real movie. We watched it, and it was just like, I was so happy. But they stayed with the whole, you know how Grindhouse makes fake trailers for their movies,
Yes,
to keep people
which
in
I
their
love.
seats. I love it.
Oh, I love them.
That's what they did. Headless wasn't a movie until 3 years later. Found came out in 2012, and they made a fake movie, like not even 20 minutes of a movie. I think it was like a 10 minutes chopped up and put into the TV, like the kids were watching it. And then they decided several years later to actually turn it into a film.
I heard, because like after I saw Headless first, I haven't seen Found yet, but I saw Headless.
Definitely watch Found.
So I still gotta find it, but I did find Headless. I watched it, and when I was reading facts about it and everything, if I don't remember, don't quote me on it, but
yeah.
I remember seeing that I don't think the director even wanted to do this. That it was so highly requested from the fans that he had to do it.
Yeah, Headless and Found were both indie films. Found 2012. You might find it on Amazon Prime or Tubi, but Found is really good. I actually really enjoyed that film, and it's about a young kid who finds out who's a horror fan. Young kid who's a horror fan finds out his brother's a serial killer. That's what the synopsis is on like IBMD or whatever the hell they're called.
And that's already a wild ride. Like
very, very, very wild ride. And to watch it was like, holy shit. And that film, I believe the budget was $8,000 for Found. And when you see it, you're gonna be like, that was $8,000. It's like American Mary on $2,500, right?
Oh my gosh.
One of my favorites. And Headless, I believe, had I want to say a $20,000 budget, but you knew where that budget went to, which was the practical effects.
Oh.
It was all practical. There was no CGI involved. It was gorgeous practical effects, makeup galore. It was awesome.
I think that's what I like the most about like the gore and disturbing movies. First of all, I'm a hater. I'll say it straight up. I am a hater of special effects blood. It feels like the more I see it, the more like bad it gets. I'm gonna say that straight up. Like practical effects add so much more like horror in a way to films. Like you can't fake getting splat on the face by a bunch of blood to the point that like, you know, you don't want to taste the cornstarch or syrup or whatever in there. Like you're gonna disgust it. Like I love the special effects that are practical. I do, and nothing can top that. No, nothing can top that. There's no way. Like for Terrifier,
can't even do it. Oh my god, Terrifier! that bedroom scene. I know there's some people who may not have seen it yet, but Terrifier 2, that bedroom scene is holy shit balls.
Oh.
Evil Dead Rise is they said that they had to use 45 gallons of fake blood, and they had to bring in an industrial kitchen.
What?
An industrial kitchen to produce the amount of blood. I posted pictures on Twitter of the big containers of blood that they had. It was huge.
Oh my gosh. I always love like finding out how many gallons of blood these movies, like I'll look at it, I was like, I don't even know how many, like I can't picture the amount of like blood, but I just hear the number. I was like, damn, that's like this many Arizona like iced teas. That's a lot,
right? I'm excited. I love it when they do a lot of blood and guts, a lot of practical effects, makeup, liquid latex. That shit's like the best. I know CGI can make it look more realistic, but I'm not in it for that. I'm in it for what this creative being just made with a bunch of clay and latex and corn syrup and food coloring and Bosco's chocolate syrup, because that was huge back in the day of black and white films. Bosco's chocolate syrup was used in almost every horror film in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, and I think leading up to the 60s. And in 1968, Romero's Night of the Living Dead, they used Bosco's chocolate syrup.
Wow, I didn't see. I didn't know. And
And
that
the
movie was
roast.
so
It
great.
was like a
That movie was
ham.
great.
That movie is amazing. Sad ending. It's sad. It's a sad film. I know it's a horror film. I know it's a zombie flick, and he never says zombie once, but it's a sad film. A
It
very
is.
sad film.
It is because, like, I don't know who hasn't watched it at this point, but I still won't
Right?
spoil it. Like, you're so hopeful the whole time.
Right? And then it kicks you right in the stomach.
Oh,
Right in the stomach. And you just feel so gutted. Ah,
it deserves the love that it gets. It always will. Is I think if you're gonna watch, like, if you're gonna get into any horror, like within the discourse of like just
mhm.
overall horror, anything, watch that. And unpopular opinion, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Gorgeous film. Texas Chainsaw
I
Massacre does something that other genres have tried to replicate and never hit.
Nope. There's even for me liking, again, gore and guts and everything, there's not a scene that's going to get scarier to me than when you first see Leatherface and the shot comes up to him and he's just holding the chainsaw. That is the most beautiful shot that I have seen and absolutely terrifying. I saw it a few months ago. It still hits the same.
It
It is
does. Or when he
scary.
opens up that friggin' door and you see
Ugh.
his massive size. What Toby did with TCM, again, everybody tries to replicate in the horror genre. So many films have tried to replicate what he has done, where basically you use your imagination and the audio sounds to create the visuals that you think you've seen in the movie. That is one of the most non-goriest, not a lot of blood horror films, but it's so violent, and people swear to this day that they've seen specific imagery in the movie, and you don't see this imagery in the movie. It's just your brain telling you did, because it was so intense. The camera switches to another area, you hear her screaming, you hear the chainsaw, you've seen that fucking hook, you know what's gonna happen, you just don't actually see a lot of it.
Yep. And even when they followed up, but like not followed up, but like years later when they did the 2003 version of it, I feel
Yeah.
like everything we finally got to see in that was what they almost wanted them, us to imagine back in the 74 one. Like I
Yeah,
just oh my god, I
it
remember
was
I went to
great.
the movie theater. I snuck into the movie theater to watch the 2003 one. I definitely shouldn't have. I don't know why I did it, but I don't regret it. Like
Yeah.
seeing that leg scene with the
Yes.
it doesn't take away. I love it. I
No,
love
they did
I
such a
was
great
young.
job in 2003, though. And I know the newer versions of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, especially the one on Netflix, gets a lot of bad heat. I thought it was great. Um,
I liked it. I like the new story.
oh yeah, it wasn't perfect by any means, but if you think about it, if TCM happened like it would have happened if we had just 2022 movies, so if it was just one right into two, you could see that happening, because he is an adult who is handicapped mentally.
Yeah.
He does have a disability, so you could definitely see him, and when his family is all dead, because they all did die, Chop Top wasn't even around at that point. He could have gone from a home. They could have put him into a home that took care of children, orphan children, especially with mental handicaps, right?
Did the new one somehow connect with the Leatherface that also released recently, the one that he was like in the orphanage and everything? Is that one like
That's
almost continuation?
it could be. I don't know how deep it touches on that, but we know that the we have the Sawyer family, and then we have the Hewitt family, and the Hewitt family is where Leatherface's mom dies giving birth to him in a slaughterhouse, and then supposedly he gets thrown out by the slaughterhouse owner. Somebody comes along, one of the Hewitt people come along, scoop baby Bubba out of the trash can and take him home, which could easily lead into the 2022 version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's lots of theories on it, right? I actually really enjoyed it. There's some things I didn't like about it. It wasn't perfect, but there were so many amazing things about it that those things that weren't perfect blew it away.
Yeah, and like that one, okay, I was surprised Netflix like picked up something like that
I
because it
know,
was so
right?
violent.
It
It was
was.
actually so violent, and like everyone's seen it because it's on the trailer. The bus scene, like I love seeing chainsaw shots like that. I love
Yes.
that. I need to see more of that. That's what I'm hoping. Like, if another unpopular opinion, I'm gonna get heat for this one. I don't care. If Rob Zombie ever decides to grab and do a version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I know that's gonna be one of the most violent remakes.
So, Devil's Rejects, House of a Thousand Corpse, all have TCM vibes. The whole fucking two films have TCM vibes. I may not like all of his movies. Some of them I find he got a little lazy on. I think could have been so much more. He's a creative mofo, and I know I get slack when I say I liked his Halloween one. I liked his
No,
Halloween
I
too.
did. I liked it too.
I just didn't care for how they made Michael eat out of the garbage. I didn't. There's a few things I didn't care about some of Zombie's Halloween films, but I thoroughly enjoyed them. I own them. I own the action figures as well of Tyler Mane as Michael. I liked all of
Great
his
Michael, by
films.
the way. It was a great
Amazing
Michael.
Michael. He was a scary
Yeah.
ass Michael. Enjoyed his outlook. I enjoyed Salem. 31, I thought he got a little lazy on 31 though. 31 I think could have been so much more. Doomhead, I think there could have been so much more with 31.
I want to see, because like I like the concept of 31. I did.
Yes.
I definitely see what you mean, but I want to know more towards the end. It was
Yes.
kind of like in the air left for me. So I was like, I don't know if this is going to continue, what's going on. But I feel like if anyone can make a very violent, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie and bring that 70s, like grindhouse style back to it,
Zombie can do it.
props, he can do it.
Hands down.
I'm not gonna hate on that. He knows the decade well enough. I've seen it in 2 films so far, like the feel of it. I don't know. But you know how the internet is. They're
Yeah.
like, no, you ruined Halloween, and we'll
I don't
probably
think
never
he
see
did.
Texas.
No.
I don't think so.
I don't know. You never know. He did the Munsters. I didn't hate the Munsters. I thought it was very interesting. I loved the way Jeff Daniel Phillips played Herman Munster.
Aw.
Grandpa came out really fucking great. I think Richard Drake, he did a great character, and that character was created for the Munsters. It wasn't in the original Munsters, the TV series or anything like that. He created that role. I thought it was a decent made film. I know a lot of people were expecting, I guess, I don't know what the hell they were expecting, but I think it would have been better black and white with a laugh track.
Yeah, I kind of that would have been pretty good. The way I keep describing it is like if the monsters got done by Amazon.
Yes, it was very, yes.
Like I don't know, like it wasn't bad. It was just like I don't know. It's like it was very different.
Yes.
Like you knew because you saw the Rob Zombie elements into it and everything, and like
did.
you can't miss his wife. You can't miss his
No.
wife. But I still like that. Like if a kid went in to see that, like they're gonna love it, and even older fans
Oh,
are probably
yeah.
gonna love it as well. So it's like, I think they did a good job. I think people are just a little bit too.
They did. I did fall asleep through some of it, but I was also dying from that nasty viral flu when I watched it.
Yeah.
So, but I did enjoy it. I didn't care for I didn't care for Sherry Moon Zombie's portrayal of Lily, but that I grew up on Lily Munster, and Lily Munster was one of my idols. So having someone play her, it doesn't matter who the fuck it's gonna be, having someone play her will never be the same for me as watching the original, right? So
I will say I love the look they gave her.
she looks
The
amazing.
look was great.
She plays a great psycho. Sherry Moon Zombie plays an amazing psycho. You see her in House of a Thousand Corpse, right? You see her in Devil's Rejects. You've seen her in 3 from Hell. She makes a fucking amazing psycho.
Yes.
So to see her in a more family-friendly role of Lily, it's kind of confusing. Yeah, she could have played Marilyn, because Marilyn
Oh, that would have
was
been
blonde.
so fun.
Yeah, it would have.
Oh,
I just noticed the time, Kat. We went way over.
Yeah,
I know it's
we
getting late
always
for
do.
you. We do all the time. But it's not like we can't do this again.
It happens all the time. Discord's there. We're like, let's hop on for a second. It's 2.5 hours later. We're talking about, I don't know, something that happened in 1978. How it was banned for some reason.
We
talk
always
about
get on
everything.
these tangents. Yeah, we do, and then we go in from one conversation and we lead into the next. I don't have conversations like that with just anybody. There's very, very few people in my life that I actually can sit and we can just talk horror, whether or not we agree on things, on what happened in the film. It's just, it opens up new doorways and new lights and sheds a different kind of light, seeing it or hearing it coming from another perspective. I think it's awesome, and I love having these chats with you.
Yeah, not even that. It helps because you're such a creative, open mind as well, and your love for horror just goes far and beyond that. Like everything is so exciting. Everything's like so cool to see. Like you get it. Like, and it's always fun to have those conversations because again, like when you were saying earlier, when you tell people about like the movies you watch, I still can't do that. Like, what, 20 plus years later, and I still feel very weird and conscious about like around who I tell them. Like, oh, I snuck into Saw in like 2005 in the movie theater, and I went to Target to buy them too.
Yeah,
like I get very weird about it because like not everyone's gonna have a good reaction towards it, and I really wish the stigma would kind of wear off.
The stigma should end, because you're not a horrible person if you watch horror movies. You're not a horrible person if you watch really shocking and disturbing shit like a Siberian film or grotesque or headless. It's, it's just art.
Yeah, and like I know it doesn't help either because have you noticed every documentary or every like true crime or anything, and they go into the killer's room, there's always a Halloween poster in there, and
Always
they're like,
something.
oh. They're like, it's like Satanic Panic, but like for horror movies. They're like, oh, the horror movies, it's contaminated people's minds. I have anxiety from these, okay? And I still watch them. Sometimes I can't watch them because I know I'm not going to sleep well at night.
Right?
So.
I can't watch water horror films. They fuck with me.
Home invasion films.
Home invasions mess with me as well because it's too real. It's too close to reality.
You're finding yourself with a bat at nighttime.
I have a bat next to my front door, right behind it, so when I open it up, it's easy to grab if needed.
See? Well, I have this water bottle next to me. You know how hard this hits? Like this thing. Yeah, like I'm ready to go at all times.
Exactly. Kat, thank you so much for joining me. I really friggin' enjoyed this.
Thank you for having me on.
I always get nervous when we do things like this. It doesn't matter how many times I've done it. It doesn't matter how many times I chit chat with people or go live. It's still that whole nerve-wracking. I don't know what it is, but thank you very much for being here. I had a blast.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor. It was about time we did it, so
I think it
finally happened.
Yes, I think we should do more as well.
Bring it in. I need to debate with Serial some movies, so bring Serial on.
We can have, oh my god, yes, we definitely have to have it. It's gonna sound funny, but a three-way.
For this, you know what? You're my friend. I accept.
Exactly. I can have it. We can have the three of us on here. Hell, we can even have a fourth on here as well if there was somebody else. I think having Serial on here will be very energetic.
He's gonna fight all of us. Absolutely fight all of us.
He will.
Can't wait.
100%. 100%. So thank you for hanging out with me, Kat, and for you guys here live, thank you so very much to Dead End and Dead Walk. I seriously appreciate it. This is my perk. You guys get to see this live, no editing, off the cuff here, no script, where I really do appreciate you guys with your monthly contributions to my Patreon, to my YouTube, and to my Twitch if you are a subscriber over there. So we'll be doing more of these. We may even do them more than monthly. It's all depending. But I hope you guys have a great night. And yes, thanks again, Kat.
Thank you. I'll catch you.
Bye, guys.